Oh, look what we're making today. Get your hooks. Turn on your subtitles here. And if you want access to my free PDFs, hit the join button. And don't forget about my merch shop. Please go check it out. I would greatly appreciate it. Now on to the video. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making a child size version of that hooded balaclava scarf that I did for adults. There's a bit of a difference, is this scarf is not cabled. You can make it cabled if you want. I didn't. And I sewed it to the front and around because I didn't want any breeze going up the child's, in there. So the scarf is sewn to the front and it's long enough to wrap back around to the front. Sewn to the front and long enough to wrap back around to the front. So let's jump right into this. So I did this one in 2 different colors, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, the pattern doesn't have to be done in 2 different colors. I just did it in 2 different colors just to be, different. I also was going to put a pom-pom on this, one of the ones that kind of hang down a little bit. That seems to be the going thing, but I haven't done that yet. I actually just finished sewing the scarf on, so the scarf is sewn onto the front. That's the front. So the scarf is sewn onto the front just so no breeze can get up there, and then you wrap it around the child from front to back. So that's how I designed this. This is just a regular 4-weight. I got this wig hair all over her head from my display head. So this is done in regular 4-weight yarn, acrylic. It's just 100% acrylic, 4-weight. Now I did go up in hook size because this is not built in amigurumi. This is built in just regular crochet. So let's get started. So I'm going to use these 2 colors that I have, this light purple and then this pink together, because I think it's super cute and I think any child would like it. Obviously, I have 3 granddaughters and 2 grandsons, so I have to do a multitude of different colors to suit the needs of boys versus girls. So this is the same. This is just a violet color. It's the exact same yarn as this is a Craft Smart value. This is a Craft Smart value. So this calls for a 5.5. And I'm going to use a 6.5 just because of all the cables and the back loops. And actually, we don't do cables on this, but all of this stuff makes it very, very puffy. And so I'm going to go up in hook size. So whatever yarn you're using currently, go up in hook size. So you probably only need a roll each to do this. I just did an adult one that took like 6 rolls of like 3-ounce rolls. So you can buy this stuff in 7-ounce rolls, so one's probably going to be enough. So I'm going to start with purple. That's what my balaclava is going to be, is purple, and that's what we're going to start with. So using your 6.5 or whatever hook you're using. I mean, if you're using smaller yarn, then you don't have to do the 6.5. Just go up is what my point is. So this is kind of a one-size-fits-all type of deal. So we're going to chain 63. So this is my chain 63. So just make sure your chain is nice and flat. You're going to pop around. go into this first stitch and attach with a slip stitch. And chain 2. So there we have the beginning. And all you're going to do is put 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around, and you're going to start with the chain 2 space. And this is going to happen throughout the project. Your first stitch will go into the chain 2 space. Chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. So you're going to put a stitch into that chain 2 space. So we're going to put a double crochet in there. And then each stitch all the way around, 1 double crochet. So I'm all the way back around, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of this first chain. And I know right now it feels really loose to you, but we're going to be doing front post, back post double crochets, so it'll eat up that space and then it won't be so loose anymore. So hence why we used a bigger hook. So chain 2, and front post, back post is not as intimidating as some people make it look. So these here are our posts. These fellas. These guys are our posts. So we're going to go around the first post doing a front post double crochet. So yarn over. You're going to go in and around. So just put that post on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over and finish your stitch. So double crochet. Your next post is going to be a back post. This is the one that everybody seems to have a problem with. You're going to yarn over and you're going to come in through the back and around it to put it on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over. So this is where it's tricky. People have a hard time with this part, pulling it through. Here's my suggestion. First of all, pop that around with your thumb if you want to make your life a lot easier. So yarning over and coming through the back and putting that on your hook. Yarn over and now pinch it right here. So now that's the only thing sticking up, and pull through and finish the stitch. You're not going to affect this at all because it'll all go back into shape, so you don't need to really worry about what you're doing until you get used to it. So now we do a front post, and again with the back post. So you can see, if you get lost, that bar in front of this stitch or this post will tell you that that's a back post. If there's no bar, it's a front post. So that's how you can tell the difference with that. So now we've done a front post, we're going to do another back post. So yarn over, come around through the back, put that on your hook, give it a little pinch on the top there, pull through and finish the stitch. Front post. So we're going to alternate just like that. So back and forth just like that. This will give you this nice chunky look. And that's what we do our balaclava with. So I want you to do this until you hit either 4 inches long or 7 rows. So with this yarn, I will get 4 inches for 7 rows. That's my gauge. I'm a loose crocheter. So, all depending on your gauge, this has to measure 4 inches tall or 7 rows. whichever one comes first. And I will see you back here. So this front post, back post does take a bit to get onto if you've never done it before, but once you get onto it, you're going to love it. Just remember this pinch here, because once this back post is popped up, it just makes your life so much easier. And again, it doesn't change the look of anything. It all stays the same. Kind of pops back into place. Oops. So I will see you on the other side. So I am back, and mine is, and this is just my gauge, mine is 7 rows, which equals 4 inches. So your gauge might be different, so you might have more than 7 rows, and that's perfectly fine as long as you have. Now, I know this looks short, and a lot of you are going, what the heck? Now, this is only to cover the nose and the mouth of the child, so it does grow a little bit as we proceed, but not much. This should just cover the nose and the mouth of child. I know it looks short, but so I change colors here, but you don't have to if you're doing yours all in one color. So I'm just going to go in and pick up my next color to do my slip stitch with, and my chain 2. So, your next round is going to be 6 half doubles and an increase. When we come back around, we are not slip stitching or chaining. So, you're going to start with your first stitch into this chain 2 space with 1 half double. You got to do 6 half doubles and then your increase. That is my 6 half doubles. And then my next stitch gets an increase of 2 half doubles in the same space. So I repeat this all the way around, and just remember, we're not slip stitching or chaining. So I'm all the way back around, and I do have a couple of stitches left. I don't remember having these stitches on my first one, but that's no big deal. Put 2 or whatever. If you got extra stitches like me, go as far as you would go to normally do your slip stitch, but we're not slip stitching. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. This is where we're going to start the hood. So the hood is going to be worked in the back loops, except for the first and last stitch of every row is going to be worked in the full stitch, just because it'll look better. Trust me, it'll look a lot better than in the back loops. So the first and the last stitch get worked with 2 half doubles in each, so that's how we're going to increase. And then the remainder of the stitches are worked in the back loops only, all the way around. So your first stitch is going to get 2 half doubles into the full stitch. And then I want you to do a half double in each of the back loops only, all the way around till you get to the last stitch. And I'll meet you right back. So I got a couple more back loops to do. Oh, just one more back loop to do. So I have one more stitch left, and I'm going to go into the full stitch with 2 half doubles into the full stitch. And that's how we're going to proceed for the next 13 rows. chain 1, turn your work, 2 half doubles into the full stitch, back loops all the way around, 2 half doubles into the full stitch. So for the next 13 rows, we need 14 of these rows all together. So for the next 13 rows, this is how you're going to increase. So I will put up my pause screen and I will see you on the other side. So this is my 14 rows all together, and this is what it should look like. So now you're questioning, what is this all about? So ultimately this gets tucked up inside, and that's where you get the balaclava part from. So that's what's going to happen later on. For now, this is what you have. So now our increases are done. The hood's about as big as we need it for a one size kind of fits all type of deal. And so for the next 8 rows, so I've chained 1, I'm going to turn my work. We're still going to do the back loops all the way around to the last stitch. Last stitch is still going to be in the full stitch, but you're only going to put 1 in there. You're not going to put 2. The 2 is just so we can increase the way that we did. And this is just going to be straight 1 half double crochet in each stitch. But the first stitch, I still want you to only chain 1, by the way. And the first stitch, I only want you to put 1 half double because we're not increasing anymore. And then the rest of this we'll get in the back loops only 1 half double crochet all the way around to our second last stitch. And then in the last stitch, it'll be 1 half double into the full stitch. And you're going to do that for 8 rows. So I will see you on the other side. So I am on my last stitch, and I'm going to fasten off. That's my 8 rows. So you just need a sewing tail to sew up this entire top. So it doesn't have to be as long as you think it does, but so that's what I got going on. So this is all my decrease or increases. And this is where I just, so it should have this shape, diagonal and then straight. That's where I just did my 8 rows. So we put these 2 together and we sew all the way across the top, but we have to turn it inside out first. So once you have it inside out, then you can just whip stitch. Now, when it comes to the corner over here, if you want a pointed top of your hat, then you can just do a regular whip stitch up to here. But if you want the back of your hat to not have a point, kind of round, let me come in again, so it kind of gets rounded off, then when you whip stitch, come back around and sew across diagonally, and that way it'll be rounded off when you turn your hat back inside out. So that's all you're gonna do, and you're just gonna go stitch for stitch. If you want to do another stitch, I mean, it's completely up to you what stitches you do to sew these together. A whip stitch generally is back loop to back loop, but I'm just going to use the full stitch. There we go. Now we turn it back inside right. And mine's kind of rounded out at the top, so it's not so pointy. And that's what mine looks like. So then this part of the hat gets folded back because it's an oversized hood. And then that's ultimately what it's gonna look like on the head. I know it's hard to get it all in here. And then this part goes up inside for the balaclava. So part of the pink goes up there as well. And that's what I meant by the balaclava growing a little bit. Because the way we fold the hat up, now you've got about 5 inches probably to cover the face and the nose. And that's the way it goes. And then the scarf gets sewn on if you wanted to. For my other one, I sewed the scarf on in the front, so all along here. And that way no breeze can get up there. So this needs to get tucked away. And then we'll move on to the scarf. So I'm doing my scarf in 2 different colors because I'm doing my whole hoods in 2 different colors. So I'm going to start my scarf with this purple color. And I'm going to do the body of it with the pink color and then end it with the purple color. So PDF users, I'm going to do the scarf a little differently than I did what I wrote as a pattern. So the pattern scarf that I wrote down for my first was what's in the PDF is this. So I just did your basic stitches on the bottom. But what I did was and I'm still going to do it to the body of this scarf, so I'll be able to show you. But this looks like a pattern stitch, but it's not. It's I just crocheted half doubles in between the stitches, in between the posts, instead of going into the stitches. So that's all that is. And I suppose it's a pattern stitch, but it's not technically. But this scarf's going to be, I'm going to start the beginning differently than I did this scarf. But if you wanted to follow the PDF, this is the scarf that you'll get. You'll get exactly what this one is. And then, of course, if you want to do the video with me for this scarf, I'm going to put in some puff stitches at the beginning, but I am going to start with purple because that's my secondary color. So either way, I'll tell you when I've changed the PDF. We're going to start with chain 13. So that's my chain 13. You'll see in the PDF that it says back bumps. You don't need to do this, but if you turn your chain over, you see all these back bumps at the back of your chain. Oh, I got a cat hair in there or something. You see all these bumps at the bottom of your chain. My cat's been on my table. I've got cat hair everywhere. These guys. If you don't have a problem going into these back bumps, it'll just make the end of your scarf look better, but it's not going to change whether your scarf is good or not. So starting in the first one, which is difficult, you're going to do 12 you're going to do 12 back bumps all the way back up. And I've already started with that stitch being too loose. If you don't want to go into your back bumps because it's a pain in the butt, then you don't have to. It's all about aesthetics. It's a struggle for me, but I do it because at the end of the day, you've got all your full stitches down here, whereas if you would normally have done a regular chain 13 and come back up, you wouldn't have full stitches on the bottom. You would only have one piece, because normally you come back up on this side under two pieces, so you'd only have one piece. But this way you have full stitches on the bottom and then full stitches on the top. This will match when your other side when you fasten off, and if you wanted to put little frills like your strings, you've got full stitches to put them into. So, but it's awkward for me to do because I've got fat fingers and I don't do it very often, so it's awkward for me. But I still do it because you get this look, right? Okay, so PDF users, you're going to notice that your next round is going to be 1/2 double crochet in each stitch. But for me, my next round is going to be the puff stitch. So this first stitch, I'm just going to put a 1/2 double in here. This next stitch, I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop 3 times, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of this. Maybe I get stuck on everything coming through, and then I'm going to chain 1. That chain 1, it takes the place of this next stitch, so I'm going to skip that next stitch and I'm going to put another puff stitch. I'm going to do this all the way across, so I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop 3 times, yarn over and pull through all of it, and chain 1. That chain 1 takes the place of the next stitch, so I'm going to skip it and go and just repeat this all the way across. So you don't have to do what I'm doing. You can follow the PDF and just do 1/2 double in each stitch. And then my last stitch is just going to get a 1/2 double crochet. So chain 1, turn your work. So that's going to be what the beginning of mine looks like. And now I'm going to do 1/2 double crochet in each stitch across. And then I'm going to change colors. So if you're doing what I'm doing, you got to go into this chain 1 that you made at the top of each of your puff stitches. So this is my 12th stitch. I'm going to pull up a loop, but I'm going to finish it with pink because I'm going to go to my regular color. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. So that's the beginning of my scarf. Now that I'm on my regular color, right in between your half doubles. So PDF users, we're now on round 3. Right in between. So we're not going into the stitches, we're going in between your half doubles. So yarn over, go right in between everything, and put a half double, and go right in between those 2 posts. And you're just putting 1 half double in, so in between there. And that's the whole, and you can make this as long or as short as you want. So I made mine really long because I sew it on the front so that it wraps around from front to back, all the way back around to the front. But it's your project, so you can do whatever you want. And I will meet you at the end, where I'm probably going to be changing colors again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then your 12th stitch is in this turning over chain because you don't have an in between 2 posts to go, so your last stitch has to be in that turning over chain, just like that. And then you chain 1 and go again. So the only thing you really got to remember is the only stitch you go into is the last stitch. So make it as long as you want, and when you're ready you can unpause it, and I'll put my pause screen up. You can unpause it and I will meet you back here, and then we'll, if you're doing what I'm doing here with the puff stitches, I'll meet you back so we can finish our scarf, change colors and finish our scarf. So I'm back with my scarf. I haven't changed colors to finish it yet. Let me measure this. So my scarf is 48 inches long, which is what my other one was, I'm pretty sure. So I have to change color, but if you didn't do what I did here at the end, then all you're going to do is you're going to do your single crochet to finish the row, because we started with this single crochet to finish the row, and we did it, well, I did it in the back bump so that I still had chains to work with in case you wanted to put those frilly things on the end. So I just have to change color here on my last stitch and go back to purple. So if you did what I did, then your next round is still going to be a half double crochet, because that's what I did on the other side. So I'm just going to weave in a little bit. So a half double in each stitch. And this is the stitch, not the space. So half double in each. Oh no, did I do spaces? Yeah, I did spaces. So half double in each space in between. So I'm just weaving in my pink piece here, just so I don't have to weave anything in. And then my last piece goes into that stitch. So I'm just going to cut off my pink here. And my little tiny piece of purple that didn't make it all the way. So So now I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. And I'm just going to do my 1 single crochet in each stitch. I'm going to go down here into my chain 2 and fasten off. You just need a weaving tail, and that tapers that in. So we're just going to weave. So I don't know if you did the same design that I did. It ends up looking pretty neat doing it that way. So it looks pretty cool. So this is the tricky part. So get your hood, make sure it's laid flat. This is going on to the front. For me, you don't need to do the same thing. Let me zoom out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. I got a whole new desk and tabletop setup, guys, so much more space on this. So just make sure you're laying this out evenly. Anyway, so get a nice fresh piece of string yarn. Make a slip knot on one end so we can reattach. Now we're not sewing all the way around. I don't know if you made the adult hood with me or not, but we only sew to the corners. But the reason I chose to do it in the front for the child's is because we absolutely do not want any air, cold air, getting up this. So if the scarf is attached to it, and then wrapped around to the back and then brought back to the front, or just wrapped around the back and then a coat put over, whatever, then, you know, less chance of them getting sick. So there are stitches under that you can sew to, but I'm just going to use these ones right up top here and these ones here. So we just need to reattach wherever you decide to reattach. And once you pull, you're going to come back and go through this slip knot. And then this can be pulled and then tied into a knot before you weave it. And don't worry, no one's going to feel it. No one's going to know it's there. And then we just go stitch for stitch. Now I'm just using front loops of the row before because we did back loops all the way around. So, and I'm sure you know how to sew. I'm just doing a whip stitch, just like I did on my last one. So I have one more stitch, and on that stitch I'm going to make a knot on this end, and then I'm going to do some weaving. I'm going to go down into the hat and just kind of pop around back here to do my weaving. Now I go through, you can come back down here now. So I go through the yarn. I don't weave around in and out of the yarn. I go literally through the yarn because those fibers are going to catch those fibers, and they're it's going to be a decent hold. And then again I go through the fibers. So I go back and forth. The first time I go through the fibers, the last time I go through the fibers, and the second time I just weave in and out. So hopefully my holds are good. I guess I've never heard that they're not. So hopefully they're okay. So there we go, guys. I hope you like it. And I'll see you in the next video.